Hey guys, Bays and Wolf from Grayson Hobby, and today we have another new quad in the Whoop series.
The Emax Tiny Hawk.
Tiny Hawk.
So tis the season for micro quads, right?
Guys, this is like our 5th new Whoop style quad in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, when it gets cold out, everybody starts pumping out all these micros. It's been like that for the last, 2 years now, realistically, now that the micros are able to be at small.
Right.
And this year is the micro brushless indoor.
All right. So this is the Emax Tiny Hawk. It's brushless. And in this video, we're going to unbox it, we're going to fly it, and we're going to maybe do some speed tests in a warehouse because it's cold and rainy outside. And then we're going to let Will crash it a few times and see how durable it is.
That's just part of flying, that's all.
Yeah. All right, so here's everything. Oh, one more thing. If you are here with only a Spectrum radio,
if you have a Spectrum radio, just go ahead
and click off.
Click off that video.
They do not make this in a plug and play. Only free integrated FreeSky receiver. So FlySky folks, DSM2 folks who only have those radios.
And Futaba, that 1 or 2 people out there with Futaba.
Right. Click off. Go watch another video. I'll put it right up there for you because this is not for you.
Wow.
I have had the chance to fly this thing around. A couple things I noticed. Off the bat, trying to run this with the motor stop on, I was getting some glitching in angle mode when I come off the power and on the power. So on this particular quad, I'm going to actually go against what I normally do. I normally do run motor stop on with angle mode, but in this case, I'd actually tell everybody probably just go ahead and leave the motor stop off to where the motors are, as soon as you arm it, they're spinning. Just be ready to use that switch to disarm when you crash. It could have been a one-off thing, but I did notice I was getting some glitching with that in the receiver when I was running the motor stop on, so I turned that back off. And the other thing I noticed after a hard crash, I started flying and I was getting really bad vibration in the video. Turns out the camera knocked loose because there's a little tab at the top side. So the quad was flying fine, it didn't sound bad, but I was getting really bad vibration. It turned out the camera was loose, so all I had to do was pinch the frame and pop it back in under the tab without taking the quad apart.
Okay,
so just if you ever get any weird vibrations in the video, just make sure your camera's mounted in there. I would definitely unplug the battery before you start pushing things around so you don't short it on the board.
Right.
And then keep an eye on the props every so often. I did manage to, after a couple crashes, one of the props was getting a little, it was coming off a little bit. I just pushed it back on lightly. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with the quad. It's been flying really good. The rates out of the box, when I first took this out of the box and flew it, the rates were so low. I was like, what the hell did they ship? So the rates were like 300 degrees a second or something ridiculously low. So if you have any flying experience whatsoever, go ahead and go into Betaflight when you set it up, change it to the second profile for the rates. It brings it to like 650 degrees a second, which is double, and it's more enjoyable, more flyable. The only other thing I personally did is raise the angle limit. The angle mode is, I believe, out of the box like 30 degrees also or something like that. It's really low, so you can't angle it much, so fly it around and enjoy it. For how you'll see it in the video here, that I raised it to 60 degrees maximum angle because I tend to fly these in angle mode still inside because I'm not trying to flip it and roll it or anything like that.
Right.
So that's that on that. But other than that, it's been a pretty good product out of the box. The rates are good. The PIDs and all that seem pretty dialed in. I think Emax did a great job on that. I just kind of question their rates as far as the control rates. And I know they're doing that so anyone and their brother could probably fly this thing in a basic hover. But for anyone with experience, you're gonna probably start to go flying and then realize, oh crap, if you didn't pay attention to the rate settings, they're not using default Betaflight PIDs. They are using a custom set.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's somewhat good. All right, what we got here?
All right, so this is a really nice little case. No, it's the Emax Tiny Hawk. So let's get this sucker open and see what's in it. We have a manual, the quad itself, looks like some stickers, a little baggie of an extra power harness, some rubber grommets, and some screws. Super tiny screwdriver, for those tiny hands, and a charger.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
So that's everything. Yep, that's everything.
Come with the battery?
Oh yeah, on the bottom of the quad. Yep. Okay, so it does come with a battery. So 450 milliamp, one cell.
So how does that charger work?
So this charger is kind of neat. It's a little USB charger. It can do up to 6 batteries at once, either the small or large batteries. In this case, we'll be using large batteries. It has a selector switch for 0.2 or 0.6 amps.
So what do you recommend everybody for there?
Probably 0.6 because it's a 450. Yeah. Now keep in mind, guys, this is a high voltage charger, so all the batteries will charge up to 4.35 volts. If you have old batteries, don't charge it on this because you could overcharge the batteries. So and you can see it says lithium high voltage version 4.35 volts.
So if you're unsure what that means, only charge the Emax batteries on that, and then you're fine.
Yeah, or just make sure your batteries say high voltage of some sort, HV, 4.35, something like that. Right. Sometimes they say 3.8.
Okay, so can I plug this into a computer or?
Yeah, actually, I've been charging. You can see right here. I'm actually charging a battery right now.
Okay. So pretty much anywhere that has a power source.
Yeah, realistically though, you're best to use a power brick though, because if you're going to charge a bunch of batteries at the higher current, you need a USB port that can handle it. You don't want to burn out a USB port.
And you can, I would think. I'd rather get.
So I'd use like the iPhones or Samsungs or whatever phone charger that comes with a 2 amp brick. Use that.
All right, perfect. So the first thing I noticed about this quad, it's upside down.
Yeah, they went a little different. This is something
upside down. No, it looks like that.
But ironically, turtle mode doesn't work. But anyways, yeah, no, they actually went and made the props underneath, and that was something people were doing with the old 5-inch quads a long time ago. So they kind of brought that back, and the props are inverted and stuff like that. So it makes it really cool. And also, one thing you'll notice, there's no screws holding the props on. These are press fit on props. Okay. They have like a little locking tab system. So that's one thing you want to keep up with, is make sure you push your props back on.
So pre-flight, this is really important to pre-flight this guy.
Yeah, if you crash hard enough, you could loosen a prop and have to pop it back on. But it just depends on where you're flying, how you're flying.
All right. So speaking of props, what size are those props?
I actually have no idea. Let's see if the manual says. These are proprietary to the TinyHawk. I don't know if other companies are going to be making aftermarket props or not. Rumor is there's going to be a 4-blade aftermarket option to be able to do turtle mode.
And proprietary because it has
there's uniquely designed for this motor. So it kind of interlocks on the top of the motor and all that as well, and it sticks on. So as far as I know, this is the only prop available for it right now.
So no prop test.
Which kind of sucks. They don't come with extra props. I wish they would have came at least 2 extra props.
Right. Like that, wow. I didn't get point.
So that's kind of a downside, and that's something Emax tends to do.
All right. So speaking of specs and stuff, let's go over the specs of the motor.
Okay. So the actual quad itself, this is motor to motor, I believe 75 millimeters is what they're claiming. So motor shaft to motor shaft, 75 millimeter, and it's one thing I've noticed right off. This is like a Stretch X.
Oh yeah.
This is not a typical X frame, so they've actually made it more like a Stretch X shape because it's longer than it is wide. So that's kind of cool there. The width of this thing, so you got from motor left to right is what 46, 47 millimeters maybe, and then length from front to back is 60, let's say 62, yeah, about 62. Right. So that's actually pretty neat, and that's probably one of the reasons I kind of like this, actually. It's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely.
But one thing right off the bat I noticed with this one, plug-in motors. That's something other companies have done, some companies haven't done. For the simple fact of being able to replace this motor and all that, if you ever damage it without having to solder, that's an A+ right there.
So what you're referring to is the motor connection is a plug, rather than
they're plugs on there. So they're plug-in motors, 3 screws to change. It came with a little screwdriver, which is nice. So Emax has gone and made the USB port really easy to get to. It's on the top, so you can actually sit your quad level when you have it plugged in the computer. That's nice. Yeah. So the button right here is your VTX button. Now this does have smart audio, so you can actually change the channel through the OSD screen, and the manual does tell you how to do that. If you look down in there, there's a bootloader button down in there. So that's kind of hard to get to. I don't really know. I guess you probably have to go from the bottom side when you plug in the USB.
And bootloader, do you need to do bootloader? What is bootloader?
You probably won't have to do a bootloader unless you update firmware and
that's
stuff
like a reset all.
So
kind of
yeah,
thing,
I would leave that alone. Now, and the last thing over here is the bind button. You have a bind button down in here. So underneath the quad, let's see, that would be the front left motor underneath. So there's a little button right there. You'll push and hold it to bind.
All right, so it's real hard to see.
Yeah. Now these have an integrated receiver to the flight controller, so it is a FreeSky receiver.
Only FreeSky.
So anybody with FlySky and Spectrum, guess what? This is not the quad for you.
Nope. You can't. I mean, it's worthless to try to modify it.
Yeah, it's integrated to the receiver, so there's no change in it. The camera is a 600 TV line camera.
Okay.
It's a 25 milliwatt VTX. It does have, like I said, smart audio, so you can actually adjust the VTX channels and all that through the OSD, which is nice. I believe it claims to be 37 channel, but I think you can unlock it and get more.
Now, the only thing I noticed about this frame, that camera looks kind of exposed for crashing.
In a way, yes, but with the guards there and all that, and it's not as bad as some of the other ones. I think it's okay.
Okay. Now, can you go over that frame? Is it like a? It looks like a one-piece frame.
The frame is a one-piece plastic. Yeah, it's just
so if you crack this, you have to replace the entire frame.
Yeah.
You can't just replace the prop guard.
No, the guards are not individual.
Right. So I guess that's something else to consider when you look at this. Is do you crash a lot? Do you break it a lot? Is repairing important to you? If it's quick repairs are important, then this is probably not the guy for you.
Yeah, because it does require assembly to change the frame.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the quad itself, though, the flight controller is an F4 flight controller. It does have a 4-in-1 integrated ESC into the flight controller as well. They are 3 amp ESCs, so
that seems kind of small. What do you think?
Well, it's a 1 amp. Or I'm sorry, 1 cell battery.
Yeah.
So the amperage is not going to be that high.
Okay, so nothing to be concerned with.
No, and these motors are also unique. They are 8025 motors. They're 15,000 kV, so they're really nice high kV motors for 1 cell use. Pretty impressed with the power of this thing for a 1 cell job. I really did like it. Did some flying, and I found myself charging battery after battery after battery to get it going.
Okay.
So I'm pretty happy with that. The camera mount, it's a fixed tilt. I don't believe it's adjustable. It looks like it's got 2 little tabs that hold it in, so there's no adjustment to that without modifying anything. But it's a nice wide angle camera. It's got good field of view and all that, so the tilt's good enough, I think, for this kind of quad.
Okay.
The flying weight of the quad, let's get a scale here.
Let's get the scale.
So let's see what the battery, without battery weight is. 28.4. Now the manufacturer claims 27.5, so I think we got a little porky here. 28.4, and then with the battery, full flying weight is 41.4.
And for those who don't like math, the battery itself weighs 13.2 grams.
So that can vary a little bit from battery to battery too.
So okay, while we have the battery in hand, what kind of? I think we went over that, but just in case people missed it, what kind of connector is it?
It's a PH 2.0 connector.
Okay. All right. Well, that looks pretty good. So let's enough talk and let's get down to flying. Okay, durability test.
I heard something come off. Prop came off.
Durability test.
We lost the prop.
All right. Well, so that little crash, the battery came disconnected, and we lost one of those press-on.
So hey, we can show you guys what the props look like now.
Yeah.
Let's get that out there.
Hold on. Does that look loose? No.
No.
Okay.
So nothing's cracked. It just popped off.
Which I guess is good because if it stays on, that's when things tend to break. To install that, I guess you just push down.
Kind of line them back up and pop it on. And that one was a little loose too, so I popped it back on, and good.
So if that was my luck, I would crash this in the yard.
Yeah, that prop was about 8 feet away, so if you plan on flying it outside, you might want to get some props.
I would have lost it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have found that.
I wouldn't have found that, yeah. Frame, how's the frame look?
No, I mean, it barely hit anything really, but the frame's fine, the camera's fine. All
right, so we just lost the battery.
The prop off.
And battery.
So that's the downside to a push-on prop.
Yep. Sun sets at 5:29, it's like around 5:33. So you ready, Will, to fly it in the dark?
As long as the camera's ready?
Yep. 29. That's a little slower than I thought it was gonna be. 28. It's reading wrong. I have to read it. 28. 29.
30.
So it's upper 20s. Wrong reading. 29. So it consists.
Battery's about dead.
It's consistently in the 20. There you have it. There is a quad. I like the case.
Yeah,
I like the case. A cool little case. It's a small case. I like the way it looks. It's definitely different.
Yeah, but as of today, it's a $100 combo. It comes with a battery. It comes with a nice little USB 6-bay charger. It comes with a carry case. It has a manual that you can actually read it. It makes sense. Good camera, Betaflight OSD, all kinds of good stuff.
Right. I know we're going to get questions. Which one do I need to get? The Mobia, the Betaflight, the King Kong, this guy. The cool thing about this guy, it's not in that same class because it's a 1S.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones are being 2S.
I think it's its own little niche, and
Yeah. So you really can't compare this to the King Kong ET.
I don't know if you can have just one. Now, the one thing I did notice with some of the really bright LED lighting I have in the house, that the camera seemed like it was harder, but it also was, my goggle settings were also set for a different camera and all that. So, not 100% on that one yet.
All right. One thing, quick tech tip: when you turn on your goggles and you turn the quad and the video's blank, take off the.
Yes, this is actually, that's one thing. This is one of the few quads that actually does, of the micros, come with a little black cap. I wasn't actually paying attention to the one earlier when I powered up. Like, what's going on?
Right. So if you're like me, what you do with these black caps, you take them off, you stick them in your pocket, and that's the last you ever see them.
They get in the washing machine.
Right,
Something
exactly.
like that, yeah.
So remember, when it's brand new, it has a cap on it.
And you'll see in the video, I did turn on a couple different things. I turned on the crosshairs and the throttle position on the OSD. So if you guys look at the DVR footage, you can see just how little power. I wasn't flying at full throttle like a brush quad or anything like that. I was pretty close to half throttle, or maybe even a little less through a lot of the flight. So I'm pretty impressed with the amount of power it had for a one-cell quad.
Right.
I think they did really good on the power management of this thing.
And just remember, all the flying you've seen from the beginning to the end is with Will's custom configurations, tunes, and all that stuff, and rates.
The PIDs were stock. The only thing I changed was the rates and just the angle limits and all that.
Gotcha.
So they did really good on the PIDs out of the box on this one, but I definitely felt the rates were subpar.
So will this work with my Spectrum radio?
No.
Okay.
Will it work with your FlySky radio? No.
All right, guys, there you have it. There is our quick review and unboxing of the TinyHawk from Emax. It's something that's different. So
You said Emax, not Diatone, not King Kong, not
That's right.
Eachine.
This is our first ever Emax review.
We really don't review much of the Emax stuff, but this time I
Why? Because they
decided...
get it to us so late, and two, we have to buy this stuff. This is not given to us by Emax. We paid for this. This is not a sponsor review. This is something that we thought we like to carry, and this is a pretty good quad.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the first time I saw pictures of this, I thought it was kind of neat with the upside-down motors and all that. I decided to buy one just to try it, and they seem to be pretty good.
One thing I want to bring up, we got a lot of questions from our Facebook group. We have our Grayson Hobby Facebook. We got a lot of guys in Europe. Right now, they're snowed in until basically April, and we have guys down in Florida who are wearing T-shirts and shorts. So again, there's not one size fits all. If you're one of those guys who are snowed in for the next 3 months, this may be for you. If you're one of those snowbirds who are living in Florida and wishing I was there with you wearing shorts and T-shirts, this may not be for you. You want maybe something a little bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you're flying and where you're at.
So please don't ask us which quad I should buy, because we don't know.
Buy them all. There you go. Got the answer.
What he said. All right, guys, let us know what you think about this. And if we get, let's say, 150 thumbs up on this video, we'll do a smash into the wall test.
Okay, fine. Okay. Fair enough.